going to start by tuning my low C. That's a left-hand note, and it's most affected by pulling my barrel. Now remember, I said most clarinets are designed to play sharp, so my expectation is this might play a little bit sharp. Let's see what happens as I play that note. We can see that it's showing as a little bit sharp. I haven't been playing my clarinet for a long time, so it's not as warmed up as it would be after I've been playing it a while, but it's a little bit sharp. So I'm going to pull my barrel about 1/2 millimeter. So I'm just pulling this out a little bit. Now actually that's more like a whole millimeter. That might be too much. Let's test it and see if that's good or a bit too low. So that one shows up as clearly too low. So I've gone too far. No problem. I'll push it in to about halfway. So I do have it pulled out a little bit, but not very much. And let's try that with the tuner and see if I can get this note in tune. That's pretty good. It's hovering a little low, but almost right in tune. I'm going to call that good for right now, and I'm going to go an octave higher to do my higher C. Now my experience is that sometimes this note tends to be a little bit sharper. So let's just try it out and see where it is right now. So you can see this one's a little bit sharper than my low C was. So what I'm going to do now is pull out a little bit at the halfway point here. And again, I'll pull about 1/2 millimeter. I'm going to make sure that I'm lining my bridge key back up properly as I put it together. And let's see how this note looks. That's much closer. This particular tuning program that I have will fluctuate a little bit back and forth, which is normal, but it's as long as it's staying very close to that center line, I know I'm basically in tune. So when I pulled at the barrel, I affected mostly the left-hand notes, but I did affect everything, and then I check out some of those right-hand notes, and I pull a little bit more right here. Some people will also pull a little bit further out there, but that gives you a sense of how you might tune. Now, if you're sitting in an orchestra or a band and you don't have a tuner in front of you and you're just tuning to another instrument, I still think it's a great idea to do the 2 octaves so that you tune at the barrel first and then check some of your right-hand notes, and if they're a little bit sharp, you're going to pull a little bit more at the middle joint. Now you'll see on the attached handout some tuning tendencies of the clarinet. Your own clarinet might be different, but they're useful to know. For example, the notes that we call the throat tones, that's kind of from your open G, the G we play with all the holes uncovered, to the A and the B flat. Those are quite sharp on many instruments. I do have a video on adding resonator fingers to the B flat and the A, which make them sound better, but also bring the pitch down again. So that can help you with those notes to regulate them a little bit. Your very, very lowest notes, all your fingers down, your low E and your low F, those tend to be flat. And it's a little hard to boost them on most instruments, but we do what we can with air and embouchure to try and raise the pitch a little bit. On many clarinets, in the high register, some of those notes tend to be sharp, although this varies from brand to brand. So you really probably could sit down with a tuner and just slowly play every note on your instrument and take note of what notes tend to be sharp, what notes tend to be flat. And in fact, on most clarinets, we have a couple oddball notes, just notes that play out of tune. If you have one that strays quite a bit from your pitch center, a good repair person can definitely help adjust your tuning. If one note's suddenly way too sharp and you've just opened up a key, it could be that key's opening too far, and just by bringing it down a bit, you'll be able to adjust the tuning. Sometimes it's a little bit more intricate. It's working with your tone holes to slightly adjust them, adjust the size so that your pitch is different. But if you have one note that's really standing out from the others and you'd like to get it fixed, I'm sure a good repair person can help you with that. Now your very, very highest notes in the high register, are designed to be sharp, and they often are sharp. However, with less experienced players, they often play flat. And that's not necessarily an indication of how your instrument's tuned, but probably more an indication that your tongue position might be low in your mouth. And I do have other videos that talk about this, but just briefly, we would like to be having our tongue high in our mouth as if we're saying the word he when we play. That raises our tongue up high and it brings the pitch up. If I take my high C and I go he, ah, ee, you'll hear how my pitch changes. So a lot of people play flat in those upper notes just because their embouchure isn't quite set. So if you find those top few notes are really high, then you should experiment with imagining that you're saying he. So your lips say O and your tongue says he. It's a weird combination, but that can help you play.